Students are facing the challenge of dealing with their immigration status after they graduate. Some are worried that they will be deported. We're talking about illegal students here in the United States going to our U.S. colleges. We're going to have this big debate about this, but first we're going to be joined on the phone with Marie Gonzalez. She is an undocumented student who will graduate from Westminster College in December. She's fighting for legislation to allow people like her to continue their education and apply for U.S. citizenship. Marie, thanks for joining us. So tell us quickly your story. You're in this country illegally. How did you get here, and how did you get into school?
All right. My family and I are originally from Costa Rica. We came to the United States when I was 5 years old, and we came in legally. We had tourist visas. We liked the States. We wanted to stay, so we started the process to become residents and eventually citizens. We moved to Missouri. We loved it there. My parents owned a restaurant, and we thought the whole time that we were in the processing. We talked to attorneys. Unfortunately, we missed the deadline, and in 2002, we're placed under deportation proceedings. My parents were deported July the 5th of 2005, and I was granted what's called a deferral on my deportation, which pushes my deportation back, and that has happened 3 times now. And with this deferral, I'm able to go to school, to drive, to work, and so I'm a very lucky person in that I will be graduating this December, which is something I thought I was never going to get a chance to do.
Okay, quickly tell us, who pays your tuition? Do you get in-state tuition rates? Do you pay it yourself? You on any kind of financial aid, or somebody else pitching in?
I pay it myself. I go to a private school, so basically I've earned some scholarships from my community service and my grades through high school. But most of it, I mean, I've had to work very hard in order to be able to go to school. So no one else really pays for it, and that's something that I'm very proud of, that I've been able to do that. Okay,
and I assume your hope is to stay here in the United States, and you want to get a job here?
I would love to be an attorney, actually. I would love to do social work. It's something that I've been very passionate about for a very long time, and I feel like this is my home. I have family here as far as I'm concerned.
All right, got it. Marie Gonzalez, thanks a lot for joining us. And now to talk about that kind of thing, and best of luck to you, is California Congressman Dana Rohrabacher and the Director of Federal Policy at the National Immigration Law Center, Josh Bernstein. Congressman, let me start off with you, because you've been a critic on, or someone who's been a real advocate of making sure that our borders are more secure. What's your beef with this whole issue that some of these young people who were raised in the United States, perhaps they came here illegally, but, you know, she seems like she's a good kid, going to school, wants to graduate, wants to get a job and live here in the United States. What's your beef with that?
She's certainly a wonderful kid. There's no doubt about that. And there are wonderful children all over the world. We cannot afford to have tens of millions of people swarming into our country and expect that our country is going to stay the same, and that it's not going to hurt our own people. In this case, we have so many young people swarming in and flooding into our country illegally, and this young lady, her parents came. She is an illegal immigrant. When you overstay your visa, you know you're breaking the law. Yeah, you know exactly what you're doing. We're spending in California alone $2.2 billion educating young people who shouldn't be here, while our own kids are getting shortchanged.
Okay, Congressman, let me pause you there, because I want to bring in Josh Bernstein. Josh, thanks for joining us. What is your take on this? Because it is true that some schools actually give in-state tuition rates to these young students who are illegals. Therefore, American students who played by the rules won't get access to this cheaper tuition. What is your take on all this?
Well, it's to our benefit for these kids like Marie, to be able to get, you know, we have a choice. Are we going to educate them, or are we going to spend Homeland Security dollars, you know, chasing after honor students?
But at what cost? At the cost of taxpayers, and also at the cost of other students who wouldn't get those slots.
No, actually, it's a benefit to taxpayers, because we've already invested in them when they were in elementary school and high school. They've grown up here. Now we're going to have a chance for that to reap the benefits. Now that they're, you know, they're going to go to school, they're going to be able to make their contributions in taxes, etc. If they're here legally, or else if we keep them in the shadows, it'll be harder for them to do that. And And why would we want to educate them and invest in them that way, and then ship them off so another country can get the benefit of and why should Marie, the people she grew up with, her pastor?
Let's bring the congressman back in. Congressman, what do you think about that? It sounds like she's just trying to be a good kid.
Well, just like all the rest of the illegal immigrants, 99% of them are wonderful people. But if we give Marie her education, as I say, if we spend, by the way, it's not just in-state tuition. For every $1 of tuition a kid pays in this state, the state taxpayers are paying 5 times that amount. So we're spending $2.2 billion to educate young people like Maria.
But Josh says it might save us money, actually, because we're paying for their junior high and their high school.
Does anyone include Josh, believe that if we keep paying and giving benefits like this to these young people like Marie, who are wonderful people, that we won't have hundreds of millions? Where do we draw the line? Eventually we have to draw the line. It's bankrupting California right now. Right now our kids are getting short-changed on their education because we're paying for other kids who shouldn't be here.
Okay, guys, we're going to have to leave it there. Congressman Dana Rohrabacher, thanks so much for joining us. Josh, we'll get back to that another time. Thank you for joining us.
Great. Thank
Appreciate
you so
it.
much.
Okay. Now we're moving on to the fight over offshore drilling. It rages on as the gas prices go up and up and up. Some experts say that offshore drilling helps the environment, believe it or not. We will take you there live, and Newt Gingrich is also up here next to talk about that.
Did you know back in 1970 we imported 24% of our oil? And by 1990, it was 42%. Today, it's almost 70% and climbing every minute. Over $700 billion are leaving this country to foreign nations every year. That's 4 times the cost of the Iraqi war, and it's killing our economy. It'll be the largest transfer of wealth in the history of mankind. We don't need any more talk. We need action, and we need a plan. And it's got to be the top priority of the next president and the next Congress. I'm T. Boone Pickens. I've been an oil man my whole life, but this is one emergency we can't drill our way out of. And I have a plan. In the coming weeks, I'm going to share the details of that plan to use American technology and alternative energy to slash our dependency and break foreign oil's stranglehold on us. It's our crisis, and we can solve it.
You know, you gotta love what Hertz is doing with this green collection.
Hi, how you doing?
Good to see you.
With EPA-certified high fuel efficiency vehicles, how can they go wrong? Look at this guy.
Well, this Toyota Prius hybrid is sure getting attention.
It's not polite to stare. Roll up the window.
Keep moving. Who do they think they are?
Reserve a car from the Hertz Green Collection, like the Toyota Prius Hybrid. It's another way Hertz puts you in the driver's seat.
Well, you think he never saw a Prius before.
People.
I know.
We've come to this island, and you'll never believe what we found. The internet. Seems it can't hide here either. Simply insert the AT&T Laptop Connect card, and you are connected at mobile broadband speeds. Email business proposals, access your customer database, all on the go. I'm Bill Curtis, and I've just found the internet.
The internet can't hide anymore. Switch to the network with the best coverage and get the AT&T Laptop Connect card for free.
It's time to turn a small budget into a big difference. It's time to try something new. It's time to dream big while they're still small. It's time to start. The Home Depot. You can do it. We can help.
Thanks for calling Ditech. How may I help you? I'd be happy to figure out a solution for you. Well, we offer a lot of choices, but for your situation, I'd recommend refinancing into our low fixed rate. No, sir, we don't have any hidden fees here, or hidden anything. I can get an approval decision for you in minutes.
To get a historically low rate of 5 7/8% from a lender that's part of the GMAC family, visit Ditech.com or call 1-800-DITECH-1 today.
Beauty. It unfolds in every lover's dream. Sandals in St. Lucia. Simply beautiful. From the villas high on Ocean Bluff to the turquoise waters of paradise. where emerald fairways make way to alabaster beaches, and enchanting pleasures invite endless romance. At 3 luxury-included resorts, discover the beauty of St. Lucia at Sandals.
I'm Heather Nauert, live at America's election headquarters. And here's what's happening right now. The partially burned body found near Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, has been identified as Army nurse Holly Wymunk. Police are holding her husband on charges of first-degree arson. Her body was found Sunday in a brush fire not far from Camp Lejeune, where her Marine husband is stationed. She's been missing since last Thursday when a fire was discovered by a friend in her apartment. Authorities say that the fire appears to have been set to cover up a crime. Overseas, the president of Sudan has been charged with genocide. Omar al-Bashir is accused of using rape, murder, and deportation in order to wipe out African tribes in Darfur. That's in the western part of the country. Ethnic conflict in Sudan has claimed roughly 300,000 lives, according to UN estimates, and thousands of people have been displaced. Actually, millions of people have been displaced. The Sudanese government says that it will not recognize the charges by the International Criminal Court. And back home here, there's more than beer that's been brewing at Anheuser-Busch. The company announced that it would agree to a $52 billion takeover from Dutch company InBev. The deal will create the world's largest brewer. And now we're on to the oil drilling debate, where President Bush is lifting the offshore drilling ban today. He spoke about it at the White House. He's putting pressure on Congress now to follow in his footsteps and do the same. Criticizing Congress, the president said it's a failure to act is unacceptable. Take a listen.
The only thing standing between the American people and these vast oil resources is action from the U.S. Congress. Now the ball is squarely in Congress's court.
And some experts are now saying yes to offshore drilling, arguing that could it actually be good for the environment. Fox's William Lajeunesse is in Santa Barbara, California, on a tough assignment there with the details. William, what's this all about?
Well, it actually doesn't make sense, so I'm going to explain it to you, Heather, because we get a lot of oil that actually comes up on the beach here in Santa Barbara, and people automatically blame the oil companies. You can see some of the rigs out here. But actually, Mother Nature spills more oil into the environment than Exxon, Shell, and Chevron combined. That's because 63% of all oil in U.S. coastal water comes from natural seepage, from cracks in the earth. 32% from consumers in their boats, 4% from tankers, and 1% from offshore platform. What the research shows is when the platform goes in, it actually reduces geologic pressure, and you get less oil coming out of the seepage and more oil going into the pipelines. Finally, are they safe? Let's go to another statistic from the U.S. Coast Guard. They say the number of spills from offshore rigs has fallen from 3.6 billion barrels in the 70s to 400,000 in the 90s to just 1,000 barrels now. That is why a lot of people are saying, Heather, that is much safer to actually drill offshore and pipe it rather than have these tankers basically going around the globe. Back to you.
All right, William Lajeunesse, thanks a lot, and thanks for bringing us that interesting angle. Hadn't heard that one before. Our next guest has been front and center on this critical issue, and of course many others, also calling on Congress to help ease our energy problems by allowing more drilling right here at home. Former House Speaker and Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich is here right now, and he's also the author of the new book called Days of Infamy. There it is right there. Mr. Gingrich, what is your reaction today to the president lifting the ban on offshore drilling?
Well, I think it's a very good step in the right direction, and I would hope that Congress would act before leaving for the August recess. When American families are paying $4 and $5 a gallon, the time has come to, as our petition says, drill here, drill now, pay less. We have over 1,300,000 signers at AmericanSolutions.com of that petition. And I think the president's now cleared the way, so there's no excuse. The only reason we don't have the opportunity in the Atlantic Ocean, the Eastern Gulf of Mexico, the Pacific, and for that matter, onshore, looking at the Rockies, which have 3 times as much oil in the shale oil of the Rockies, 3 times as much as Saudi Arabia. The only reason we can't get to it right now is the Congress is failing to do its job.
Okay, let me ask you about that. So the president lifting this offshore drilling ban is really just one part of it. Congress has to act too. Are there the votes in Congress to push this thing through, and will we actually see this happen?
I think there are going to be the votes to push it through, because I think all over the country, as the American people are faced with absurdly high prices for oil, when they learn, for example, that the Brazilians have discovered 80 billion barrels